Hey guys, hope everyone is going well. You've all had a great weekend out on the track, riding, racing, and training, hopefully. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about fitness testing and why you shouldn't be fitness testing in the gym. Okay, so I'll wait for a few people to be able to jump on board, let Facebook do its thing, but that's what I'm going to focus on today. So having a look at going in depth into how we need to be able to test improvements in our fitness and how we can actually see that the training that we're doing in the gym or off the bike is actually helping on the bike. So that's what we're going to go into today, and we're going to focus a little bit on that. So I hope everyone has been training hard, and I hope all of you guys that race. I know there was Tumblegum. We had a couple of our guys racing at Tumblegum on the weekend, which was cool, which is our like a natural terrain motocross that they have every year here in WA. But I'm sure there was heaps of other events on as well. So to go in depth, what you want to be able to do with your training is you want to be able to make sure that every single thing you do in the gym is helping you on the bike. Okay, now a question that I get a lot, an absolute heap from people, riders and racers, people that we've worked with or before we started working with them, is that they're fit in the gym. Okay, they have fitness in general sense. So if they went for a run, sweet, they can do that. They go to the gym and they can lift weights, cool. Okay, they can go and jump on the exercise bike for half an hour, sweet. They can go cycling. They can go for runs, for walks, for rows, for swims, and they feel like they're pretty fit. But then they jump on the bike and they don't have that level of fitness, okay? Or they don't feel like they have that level of fitness. They feel like they're one person when they're in the gym, they're one person off the bike, but then when they jump on the bike, they're not getting that correlation. They're not getting that transfer between the two. Now, the biggest mistake that a lot of riders and racers make is gauging their fitness by things that they're doing in the gym. Okay, now testing is important. Benchmark testing is important to be able to ensure progress. But the most important fitness test is the one on the bike. There's only one test that really matters, and that's how you feel on the bike. Because at the end of the day, that's why you're doing the training. It doesn't matter if you get your deadlift from 100 kilos to 200 kilos, if you get your squat from 50 kilos to 150, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if your 1K row time goes from 5 minutes to 3.5 minutes. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is how you're feeling on race day and how you're feeling out on the bike. And the only way to test that is to be able to see how you're responding out on race day, out on practice days, and how you're feeling on the bike. If we're getting caught up in using our training as a gauge, then what happens is that we assume when our fitness goes up in the gym that we're going to be feeling better on the bike. Now, that's not always the case if you're not doing the right stuff in the gym. So this is a common one for a lot of racers. If you're doing the wrong stuff in the gym, but you're training hard, you'll probably improve with that stuff. But if you're not doing exercises, you're not doing things at the gym that are supposed to help you on the bike, or are designed to help you on the bike, that are going to help you the best there, then you're not going to be able to get the best result out on the bike. So you're going to improve in the gym. You're going to feel like you're doing really awesome, feel like you're doing well, but then get out there on race day or out on the bike and be disappointed because you put in all the work and things have been progressing there, but then you've jumped out on the bike out on race day and haven't really noticed the difference. Okay, and that comes down to testing, being able to know where to test. You can't be using strength training or using conditioning or using those workouts as the be all end all. Okay, so for the guys that we train on our programs, we have benchmark testing. So we'll do the benchmark at the start, we'll do the benchmark at the end of the program, just to show them progress, and it helps with level of drive with training as well. But there's a lot more to it than just having a benchmark test and showing improvement there. I don't really care about how someone's row time's improved or how much stronger they've got. I don't really give a shit about any of that stuff. The only thing I care about is how they feel on race day. And obviously that's something that's a more on a personal level or more individual level to be able to help everyone with, and obviously helping you guys with as well. So you just want to make sure that you're using your riding and racing as a test. If you've been training hard for the last 8 weeks and you rode 8 weeks ago and you're riding now and you still don't feel any improvements on the bike, or it's only a mild improvement, then you're doing something wrong in your training. It doesn't matter if you're getting stronger, if your conditioning's better, blah, 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 everything else in the gym, it doesn't matter. You have to have everything nailed or set up for success to be able to replicate what's happening on race day. And that means replicating strength and also replicating strength, movement patterns, and replicating intensity as well. So this is one I'll talk about a bit, but the main thing that you want to be able to do is, and an error that a lot of riders and racers make, is not replicating the intensity of race day, or not replicating the intensity of being on the bike. And that's the most important thing. That's the thing that gets you. That's the thing that causes you to fatigue, to be out of breath, to not have the endurance, to not have the stamina, it's the intensity. Chances are that if you got on your bike and I told you to ride at 50%, you could probably go and ride for hours, right? But it's the 15, 20 minute, half hour race, the high intensity that you're bringing to that race is the thing that actually holds you back. Okay, and that's the variable there. That's what you need to be focusing on. It's not as important to be able to go, okay, I've got to do 3 half-hour motos today, so that means I've got to go and do 2 hours of cardio, or 2 hours of cycling, or 2 hours of rowing, or whatever it is, to be able to make up for that. It's not about the duration, it's about the intensity. And when we can learn to train at high intensities, you know exactly what you're doing intensity-wise in the gym. Then what that means is that we can get you training at a high intensity. You get more comfortable training at a high intensity, which also means that, number one, you get a heap fitter a heap quicker, and you get results 10 times quicker. But it also means when you get out there on race day, that you're going to be more comfortable being able to push. Okay, and that's where everyone slows up. So obviously everyone gets to the end of the race because they can't hold that intensity. Okay, when they get towards the end of the race and everyone's starting to slow down, it's because they're having troubles holding that intensity, which is more important why we replicate that intensity, or even higher levels of intensity in the gym. So when we jump on the bike, it's going to be much easier. So when we're used to in the gym training up the intensity up here, but then we get on the bike and the intensity is only here, what that means is we can hold this intensity for a lot longer period of time because we're used to always holding it up here. And that's what we want to be able to replicate with our training during the week. So things like looking at interval training, okay? Being able to use short, sharp bursts of high intensity. This is different to circuit training. There's been a bit of confusion about interval training and exactly what it is. The interval training that we need to be able to focus on is picking one steady state cardio modality: rowing, exercise bike, swimming, running, are some examples. And what we want to be able to do with them is we want to be able to make sure that we use intervals with those with complete rest. So I'll give you an example. What you can do: 10 minutes, 10-minute workout, 20 seconds on, absolutely flat out as hard as you can go. 40 seconds, complete rest, 0, not moving. Okay. Now, if you look at that workout, it doesn't sound very hard. If you've never done that before, give it a crack, because it's going to be harder than anything you've probably never ever done before, even though you're working only like probably 1/10 or 1/20th of the time that you probably have been. So if you're not used to jumping on the road, jumping on the bike and going for an hour ride, now we're only doing 10 rounds of 20 seconds. So what's that? 3, 6, 9, that's about 3.5 minutes of actual training, right? But it doesn't matter that it's only 3.5 minutes. What matters is the intensity that you bring to that 20 seconds. So yes, we're only training for 3.5 minutes. Yes, I understand that your races go for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour, enduro guys even longer. But the duration isn't the variable we want to look at. The intensity is the variable we want to look at. And the only way that we actually get high levels of intensity is when we have rest periods. Okay, so if you're continually training, just continually moving, the fatigue from the previous movement that you've done is going to carry on to the future movement, which means that you're not going to be able to hold high levels of intensity. So think of running. Think about the speed someone brings to a marathon, which is 42 Ks, and the speed you bring to a 100-meter sprint. The speed you bring to the 100-meter sprint is obviously going to be a lot higher because you don't have another 43.9 Ks or 42, whatever it is. I think it's 42 Ks for a marathon. So 41, you don't have 41.9 Ks left to be able to smash through, right? So you can increase the level of intensity. And that's what we need to be able to do with your training. So by having those rest periods, so like the example I just gave you, 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off, that 40 seconds gives you more than adequate time to be able to recover. So you get your breath back, you're refreshed, ready to go, and then you can hit that next 20 seconds hard. Whereas if we kept ticking over with those 40 seconds, or we just kept rowing for the full 10 minutes, the intensity would drop down because we can't hold that high level of intensity because we haven't had those rest periods to be able to recover as best we can. So recovery is really important. It's not always about just doing heaps of work and just doing stuff and moving. It's about the intensity that you bring. And what you're going to find with that as well, you can also drop down, you'll be able to drop down the amount of training you actually do. So you won't have to train for as long a period of time, okay? You'll be able to get a heap more done, get shit ton better results in 1/10 of the time, okay? So you don't need to be going for hour and a half cycles 4 or 5 times a week. You need to be doing conditioning paces, say 3 or 4 times a week, and then spending the rest of the time on the bike. Because remember, we want to get your training done in the least amount of time possible. Okay, we don't want you. The goal shouldn't be to have you in the gym, say five days a week, two times a day. Okay, we want to be focusing on being able to make sure that we can get the most efficient results from your strength and conditioning training. We make sure that we optimize the time you do have so that you can spend all the other time out on the track, out on the bike. Because at the end of the day, that's where the skill is and the ability is. The strength and conditioning complements that. Okay, so we want to make sure that we get as much as we can, or as efficiently as we can, get our training done, so that then you can spend the rest of the time on the bike and being able to get better on the bike, rather than using all your time during the week to train and that cutting off time on the bike. It would be much better to be able to put, say, 3 sessions a week for an hour and optimize those sessions and get better results than you are currently, and then be able to spend the other nights on the bike or doing stuff that's going to help you on the bike, rather than trying to get a 2 hour cycle in after every day after work, or trying to ride to and from work and running yourself into the ground. So there's a few things, guys, for you to be able to focus on. We've got our arm pump clinic on next Wednesday, for those of you that are interested. So I'll stick the link in the comments below once I've finished the live stream. But if any of you guys are interested in jumping on board that, we're going to go through nutrition, go through strength training, go through conditioning, really going in depth into the key elements of training, and helping you with your performance, looking at mindset, mobility, and flexibility, looking at a few key areas, and giving you guys a bit of a blueprint to be able to get started with, give you a bit of an outline of what you need to be focusing on with your training. So if that's something you're interested in doing, arm pump, something you suffer from and you struggle with fitness or knowing exactly what to do, then this clinic will be perfect for you. It's online, so everyone watching will be able to jump on. So I'll stick that in the comments for you, and you can register there. But otherwise, if you have any questions, anything else, any other live streams or topics you'd like me to talk about that I haven't touched on, feel free to comment below, and also give me a thumbs up or to let me know that you're enjoying the live streams. And also feel free to tag any friends that you have that would see or would be valuable for them to be able to see this live stream. So I'll get that link put in the comments below. Hope you guys have a great day. See ya.